welcome. Believe me, I'm so excited today to be bringing this podcast to you. The guest we have today, Milford Adams, is going to blow you away. I'm just telling you that right now. That this is going to be a conversation that you may never even heard about. We're going to talk about mindset today. But first, I want to make sure you know we are having a Black Housing Wealth Summit. So it's the Black Wealth Housing Summit. It is on June 19th with this Juneteenth. It's from 5:30 to 7:30. It's at Cross Purpose, which is in the same parking lot as the Shorter AME Church on Colorado, Martin Luther King. They're in the building that's right behind. They share the parking lot. And we are going to spend some time putting a plan together for you. And when I say that, we're going to have a real estate agent. We're going to have a loan officer. We're going to have credit folks. We're going to have insurance folks. We're going to have financial planners. All of us are teaming together to create a team because we understand how important home ownership is. And when I say it's important, it is the beginning steps to generational wealth. It's the beginning steps to personal wealth. If you do not own a home, where the theme is whose mortgage are you paying? If you don't own a home, you don't understand what we're trying to say right now. You're going to have to experience it. And we want to do everything we possibly can to get you experience. And I say this at the top of every show. If you're paying $2,000 a month in rent, that is 2,000 times 12 is $24,000 that you've now given somebody else. They're part of their mortgage. If you stay in that place for 10 years, you've now given that landlord $240,000 is what you've given them. In most cases, if it was an apartment complex 10 years ago, they paid less than $240,000 per unit. So you paid for that space that you're in, and he's going to rent it forever and ever because we're going to get you into a home. He's going to have somebody else into that space. If you are in a home or whatever, say the home was $500,000, you paid half of their amount that they paid for that home, just you alone, without being able to reap what you've sowed into it. And so we want to change that. So Cross Purpose on June 19th, 5:30, 7:30, bring somebody because that's the person you've been talking to that's told you can't do it. So you bring them with you that tells you can't have a house, and then both of you walk out of there with a house. So today we have Milford Adams. Milford Adams, oh man, I've gotten to know this gentleman. When we talk about somebody who has a pulse on what's not only happening in Denver, but nationally. He was the president of the Denver Metro Real Estate Association. That is a big deal. There's over 9,000 members of people trying to sell real estate in the Denver area, because there's another one, Smedra, that's out in South Metro Denver area. There's another association. So 9,000 just in the Denver Metro. He has his own development company. He has his own brokerage. When we talk about knowing what it takes to create wealth in the Black community, he understands it. Milford understands it. He knows it. And so I'm not going to take all the time talking. I'm going to let him jump in. So Milford, if you can just, give your name, how somebody can get a hold of you, because they're going to want to after this. I'm sure it's going to be staff that's probably going to talk to you first. And then after that, you'll get to him because he is that big of a deal. So let them know. And then let's start talking about this thing called generational wealth or home ownership. But go ahead and give your information right now.
Hey, thank you, Brian. I love your energy. I am honored and grateful and humbled to be here. You are incredible. I thank you for City First Mortgage for what you guys do. And I'm just excited to be here to just share information. My name, once again, is Milford Adams, and I'm honored to be here. My email address is milford@adamsfamilyhouses.com. Once again, it's milford@adamsfamilyhouse.com. MILFORD, Adams Family House. Just think of the Adams family without a D. And
I love it.
Adams family with two D's, one D.
Right. Gotcha.
But Brian, thank you. I mean, I'm amazed at what we can do together. And I know I want everyone to know just a little bit about me. I started my company with $295 is what I started my company with back in the 92. I've been self-employed since then. I do own two companies and some other companies as well. But in the real estate side of it, Lions Realty Group is my brokerage firm. And then also Home Development Solutions is our building of new homes for new home buyers that want to build their home as well. So I'm really, Brian, one of the things that you said earlier, I know that us having this podcast is just, we're building relationships and we're building partnerships. And I want every one of you to remember this. And as we unpack this today, I know we can share about interest rates, but I want to get you motivated to get off the sideline and start moving towards home ownership. What you do does matter. And I want you to remember that as we go through this, what you do does matter. If you're not doing anything, you're not moving forward. Mm-hmm. And then that same saying is, if you're not moving forward, then you're probably one of the ones on the menu. If you're going to make a change, you're going to make a change for your community. You're going to make a change for your family. This is a call to action. Everyone in the United States, Black folks, should own a home. That is a fact.
Everyone.
And Brian, I want you to understand, we have a lot of work to do here in Colorado. On housing, we're only 37% housing in the state of Colorado, 37% of home ownership. So you got to understand, we're lower than the 1968 Fair Housing Act, which was at 40%. So that's the kind of work that we have done. But we have professionals like yourself that's on here that can help individuals walk through. So this is a call to action. I don't know what you expected from me, but anybody knows me, I'm just a call to action guy. We make it happen. We find solutions. And Brian, I'm not going to eat up all the time. You ask me any kind of questions you want, but I want the people that's looking at this today, you can do this and we can help you walk you through this to get this done. There's funds out there to make it happen.
Yeah, one of the myths that continues to plague our community is this 20% down myth, that the mindset is, and I was just talking literally this weekend to a person who grew up in the projects, who in the projects in Denver, not the projects all over in California or Chicago, whatever, in Denver. Her parents didn't own a home. Her aunties and her uncles didn't own a home. Nobody that she interacts with on most days owned a home. And she's asking, well, I think I want to buy a home. And they're telling her, no, you have to have 20% down. How do we switch that mindset? How do we, because both you and I know that we don't have to have 20% down. There's educational seminars. There's all these down payment assistant commercials and stuff that go on. But somehow it's not clicking in our community that it's possible without 20% down. How, in your mind, how do we start negating that? Or how do we make that a reality of anybody can own a home? What's your thoughts?
Brian, everything that I have done is from one door to another door, knocking on doors and telling individuals and communities that you can buy a home. I think it's your neighbors. When you see your neighbors buy a house, if we can challenge them to say, hey, look, we done it. And the one of the things that I think we have to do better is getting the word out, because a lot of our people will go to these lenders that are telling them you need 20 to 25%, and then you walk away thinking that I never own a home. But we gotta teach financial literacy. We got to teach education when we talk about home ownership. But I think also our churches could do a better job hosting us professionals like us that will get messages out, because a lot of them will go to the churches and listen. And I think it's just building friendships in the communities, getting involved with your HOAs, we got to educate ourselves about home ownership. Understand, if we're going to leave generational wealth for our children and then have a better lifestyle for our children and our community, we have to buy a home. You could get in a home with as little as $1,000, $1,500 today, and help them to get in the position to be able to do it. But I think we as professionals, I think the churches, I think the communities, I think when they have community day in their neighborhoods and all of the above, all of that, because you cannot build wealth and remain renting property for someone else, and you building wealth for someone else. You have to build it for your home. The money that you're paying in rent today, your mortgage is usually a little bit less than that. And you own it. And can't nobody tell you what to do in your house. You don't have to get a notice saying that we're going up on your rent or we're going to price you out of the market. All of the above is just strategically, Brian, I really think we got to give solutions to individuals that needs the help, that needs the hands, to hold their hand and walk them through the process and not make them feel bad about, hey, I don't know if my credit's okay. I don't know if I got enough money. We got to kill those myths.
Yeah, we do. We have to stop the myths where we believe that if you tell me what's going on in your life as your lender, that somehow I'm going to do something to hurt you. Like, if I have this information, how am I going to be able, like, that we're so scared to tell people what's going on in our lives, maybe because we feel embarrassed, maybe because of where we're at, or, we have this belief that somehow, they're going to steal all my money. If I tell them that they got $15,000 in the bank, then somehow they're going to find out my bank account and take it. And so how do we get our folks to really start saying, I need to trust somebody? How do we develop that trust, I guess, is what I'm asking for.
Brian, you know what?
What?
I love this because we all came across the track and I didn't have two pennies to rub together.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to the best schools and have all the degrees that everyone has and all of that. But I do have a passion to succeed. I do have a passion to walk forward and see what I have to do to find information. I think one of the things that we can do as professionals, Brian, is expose our own journey. What did it take for us to buy a house? And I may look polished right now on it, that I got it all together, whatever. But if you know my story, and I'm just sharing this with the people, I've been divorced before. I had babies out of wedlock and all of the above, but it doesn't cancel the potential of you moving forward. Yes, take care of our kids. I'm not saying don't take care of your kids. That's not what I'm saying.
No,
what I'm saying is that life have threw things at us where people get beat up and they don't feel like they're worthy, or they don't feel like they could be transparent. And look at me. You think I'm real polished? Let me show you something here today, because Brian, you my friend. I couldn't find a handkerchief. You know what I used? This is a sock. This is a sock. Okay? So I'm trying to show you guys, hey, if your feet is cold, you got to get in the water. But here's the sock. But what I'm telling you, I can put this back on. You don't know that was a sock.
No.
So I'm trying to show people we ain't got it all together. You take what you have and you make it work. You can do this.
Oh my God.
So I just want you to know we are real people. We ain't got it all together.
No.
But we are fighting.
We are fighting, and we're taking it one step at a time. And what we did that a lot of folks won't do is we went and got some help.
Yes.
Because we didn't know how to figure it out ourselves. When I bought my first house, I had no clue. In fact, I even think I might have told this story. When I went to college, they had these rows where you could get Sears credit card, Visa, American Express, all those cards.
Yes.
And I signed up for one. And I went, and I went to Sears because I wanted my dorm room to look all cool.
Yes.
And I bought all this $300 worth of stuff at Sears. And then a bill came, and they said, "No, you got to pay this." And I'm like, "But I didn't graduate." I had no clue what I was supposed to do. What do you mean? I don't have a job. So, well, you better find some money. I'm like, how do you give people a credit card that don't have a job and can't pay it back? But that's how I started out my life in credit. My credit journey, my credit was terrible by the time I graduated, and I had a scholarship. And so, we don't know. So finding people, give me an example of somebody in your life and what they did to help you move forward in this industry, or move forward.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, Brian. I can share this with you. I had a lady that came alongside me from a credit union that looked at my credit profile, because I was always getting turned down because I had bad credit as well. And she showed me how, she said, Milford, if you do A, B, C, and D, one of the major pieces that helped me to get my score up to where I can buy a house over 700. I think it's almost 800 now. I can't remember, but understand, she showed me how to do a shared secured savings account.
Mm-hmm.
And basically where I would put $500 in, and then the credit union would match $500. and they'll just keep the $500 and pay the payments every month. But I ended up opening that 4 or 5 of those accounts, and it just shot my credit through the roof. In 12 months, I was already over 650 credit score. They helped me to settle some of my collections that I had on my profile, because a lot of times when you go through divorce or other financial hardship, or a single mom, you can have medical bills out there. You can have credit cards that went bad because you had to take care of the kids. I mean, that's reality. You got to pay the bills and keep the light on. But understand, sitting down with a financial analysis person at a credit union that helped me to get myself in a position. And I think I ended up doing 10 or 12 in the end of shared secure, because I had $500 in the bank or $300 in the bank. Make the money work for you. You're not using it. Go to the financial institution, tell them you want to open up a shared secured account to start rebuilding your credit. You can't stay on the sideline and say, my credit is horrible because it's only 500 or 510. You got to take action. Remember, this is a call to action, and you can do it.
Oh, yeah.
The pictures that you see, we love you guys. We want you to get home ownership. Go ahead, Brian. I know I can talk.
No, this is awesome, because I'm thinking as I'm driving into apartment complexes and I see the Range Rover and the Mercedes and the BMW, and and you go, these are $80,000 cars, and these guys are renting. And then I talked to some of them, and they said, might as well, I can't buy a house. Might as well, can't buy a house. What do you think about that mindset of, we're such consumers and we're paying somebody else's something, and all these things that we buy? How do we discipline ourselves in a way that we skip on the immediate gratification and move on to the long-term wealth, possibilities? What has to go through our minds in that case to be able to do that?
I think, Brian, you got to get to a point where you say enough is enough. I mean, when you get to the end of yourself, and remember, I started this broadcast by saying what you do does matter. If you want to rent the rest of your life, and you can always get the car afterwards, after you buy the house, you can qualify for the car and they're going to give you the car because you got the credit to buy the house. But understand, if you're going to make a difference in your life, you got to sit down and be still for a moment and start setting some goals. What is my short-term goal? What is my long-term goal? And a lot of times, what I found out, especially when you're preparing for a house, I know when me and my wife bought our house, Brian, we put up the credit cards. We didn't charge nothing for 24 months. We didn't want anything to interfere with what we're trying to do, debt ratio, income-wise, all of it. But we put the credit, we paid them off and put them up. And we built up a reserve fund for emergencies. So if something comes up, we don't have to use those credit cards. We set aside so much money every paycheck to put it in a savings account. But what I want to share with everyone that is still on the sideline, it's not too late for you. You got to get with the professionals, people that genuinely care about you and love you and want to help you see this through. But I do want to say this. When you set goals for yourself, I think this is the biggest thing. You set goals for yourself. You're going to say, hey, I'm going to save up $24,000 next year. That's my goal, to be in 12 months or whatever. But your job doesn't pay you that amount, and still that you can still live. I want you to make small sacrifices. Take $500 or $300, go to the credit union or financial or bank and ask them to do a shared secure that you want to rebuild your credit. Get on one of those credit programs and all of those programs that's out there. I think the biggest thing, we have to be careful and don't make the goals where you can't reach it. Your goals should be measurable. If you buying a washer and dryer, or you got to buy something for your kids, prepare for those prom dates that are coming up. You know you're going to spend about $500. Set those reserves aside. That could be part of your goal, to make sure that your kids are okay. But make them realistic. A lot of times people will set goals, they set them too high and they're not attainable, and then they get frustrated and say, I'm never going to get there. Don't do that to yourself. I don't care if it's $10. If you're not used to saving money, save $10 a week. That tells you in 52 weeks, you don't save $10. And that tells you that you got $5,200 at the end of the year, or whatever that number is. I think I messed that up.
Yeah, $10 times, for 52 weeks is $520.
520. I meant to
That's
say
$500. That's $520 more
yeah,
than you had
yeah,
before that you kept spending.
yeah.
So, and I love this fact that you're talking about goals, because that's part of what we're going to do at this summit is, or at the Black Wealth Housing Summit on June 19th, is we're going to put a plan together that has goals in mind that, just like you said, are realistic. Because what's happening is, what I believe is happening, is folks, they're so hard to dream because of all the things that have happened. And it's almost like they say, eat an elephant one bite at a time.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to dream one bite at a time, right? You have to dream these little steps that continue to go. Well, and we can charge it, because some people are going to come to this summit and they're going to be ready. They just don't know they're ready because somebody told them they weren't. Then we're going to have a section of people that it's going to take 6 months to a year. I'm telling you that now. It may even take us 2 years to get you. Milford just said he saved for 24 months.
Yes.
But in the scheme of things, if you're 30, do you remember what you were doing at 24? That was 6 years ago, right? You can't tell me what you were doing every day. So 2 years is not that long of time, especially if you have your eye on a goal or a target that you're going to hit. And not only do you have it, it's hard for us to do stuff by ourselves. But now you have a team of people who are pushing you towards this target, and they're doing checks and balances. They're doing accountability. You said you're going to save $10 last month, or you're going to save $20. Hey, did you save that $20? And then they go, then they're not doing. That's what we're going to put together. We're going to give you an app. It's called the Vita app that is going to help you with your credit. It's going to be an app that you're going to be kind of like a Credit Karma, but it's for us. It's going to be aligned with you and your real estate agent, and so you can look at houses on the app and that kind of stuff. But it's going to send us an alert and an email when you hit that goal, and it's going to tell us that we're now ready to start looking. So we're going to put some stop gaps in place, but you have to be, and this is, I guess, the hard part, is you have to be a player. You have to have skin in the game. You have to be a person who's like, hey, I want this more than I want some of the other stuff that I have. We're going to show you how to do that, because I understand how hard that is. I mean, maybe you'll tell us how hard it was. You said we cut up the credit cards and that was it. Was it just like, oh, that was easy for you because nothing happened in your life during that 24-month that you could have spent money on?
No, that was not easy, because I was used to spending and going out to dinner. So we cut down on how many times we went out to eat in a month. We cut down where maybe they're buying that $5 or $10 cup of Starbucks coffee every morning. Whatever you have to do, you got to understand, you got to be disciplined to save some money and to get yourself in a position where you can purchase, but also budget. Because if you go out there and buy a car and it's going to cost you $500 to $700 a month, and you haven't bought a house, it's going to take away from the amount of house that you can buy because of your debt ratio and the income. But I will say this as well, as you continue to looking at your budget and what your goals are for your family, you may have to look at what you're doing professionally. How do I enhance professionally when it comes to job? Like if you're working at a job, I don't care if it's a McDonald's job, hey, go for the general manager. That's what I did in business all my life. If I'm going to be there, I'm going to go for the top position, because I know if I get the position, they're going to pay me more money to do what I'm doing. I mean, it's the eye of the tiger. I mean, we have to start moving away from pull yourself up by the bootstrap. You don't have a boot, you don't have a tongue, and you don't have a strap. The question is now, realistically, how do I move this forward? Building partnerships, getting with people like Brian that are honest, that honestly want to help you to move where you want to get to, and don't take no for an answer. And not only that, we're going to build wealth for you, that you build wealth in home ownership, that you can take that wealth out of that house and buy another house and let it pay for itself. That's what we talk about when we're talking about building wealth.
Absolutely. There's a young man that I just dealt with. He just turned 31, and his dad was a realtor and kind of understood the concepts and walked him through. Didn't even give him his first down payment, so this isn't like a handout. He actually worked at McDonald's, saved up a whole bunch of money. Now he had the blessing, like a lot of folks, where he was able to live with mom and dad during that time while he was working at McDonald's, saved it all up. Dad showed him how to get into his first property, which was a condo, somewhere in, I think it was in North Aurora. So not the best neighborhood that, people want to move into, over Southeast Aurora at the reservoir or whatever. No, this is in North Aurora, got his place. Then he built a couple years later, built up some equity. At 28, he bought another house out there off of 470. And now he's coming to me ready to buy his third home at 31 years old.
Wow.
That's what we're talking about when we start talking about building wealth. He's renting the other two properties out that are paying more than his payments that are on there.
Wow.
And he started this process because he was willing to listen to somebody, willing to do delayed gratification, like you're saying, and then be realistic about what his goals were, and just kept going to work.
Wow.
It wasn't like he built this big business or something like that.
Yes.
He's not working at McDonald's now, but at the same time, this is a guy who worked at McDonald's who has 3 houses, right?
Yes.
And continues at 30 years old. Not at, my daughter has to, she's on her second home right now. She just turned 30. Because of these processes, and she lives in Northern California, where her second house was $870,000.
Wow.
Not, but her loan isn't $870,000 because she sold her first house, that brought her in all this money. So we start thinking about what can we do with folks to change that mindset, because that's what it really is I don't believe I can, therefore I'm not even going to try.
Brian, you know what? That's so powerful what you just said. But understand, your daughter has you as an example. You always motivating her. Now I'm gonna give some free advice here for people that are listening. If you with a group of people and you're the smartest one in the bunch, you probably need to start a new group. I'm not saying you can't have them as friends, but where are you going? You got to start getting with people that have like-minded, that is a go-getter, that are motivated, that are trendsetter, that will not take no for an answer, that will fight for what they want. And one of the things, Brian, you kind of mentioned, and you could just erase this out because I don't know how else to say it. But understand, a lot of us do have a strong belief system.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a strong belief system. Whatever that belief system is, it should be able to get things done in your life. If it says it's in the word that we can have these things and other things on this earth, then we need to come in alignment. I'm not trying to be churchy here. I really want to say, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all his righteousness, and all these other things will be added unto you. But what I'm trying to tell you is that if you have a belief system, there's no reason for you not to be successful here on the earth. And fight every day. You go to these places and you get uplifted, but understand you're not moving forward. What's stopping you? Don't worry about that you got high yesterday. Don't worry about the addictions. We got places that we can help you with that as well. And I promise you, if you start moving forward, people like Brian, myself, they will come alongside you. Can I share this, Brian?
Please.
So, do you know my first house? I was a brand new house that I built.
Really?
From the ground floor in the 20s. And I was in an area where people said they let you live out there. But wait a minute. People see my passion. People knew I wanted a house. I knew I didn't have the credit to do it. Do you know a builder said, Milford, I've been watching you. I want to build you a house and I'm going to carry the note.
Oh my gosh.
He carried it.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And this house was in a community that people are well-to-do. And he said, I'm going to do that for you. I've watched your passion. I know how you help people. I know how you serve in the community as volunteer. And I was doing that at 21. I was already doing that at 21, volunteering. And I will say this, if you want to help other people to help you, volunteer somewhere in your community. I don't care if it's reading to your kids or volunteering at a school or helping with the homeless. Volunteer somewhere. It builds character, but it opens you up because people will see the light in you and they'll want to help you, Brian.
They do.
I see it all the time.
I'm so glad that you brought up faith. I'm chaplain at the rehab center over here, and so it's been so much. The church yesterday was talking about God can do so quickly. He doesn't have to do it slowly, but you got to put in. You got to be reaching out and saying stuff. I mean,
Yes.
and people say, "But Milford, I don't know anybody who owns a house. I don't know anybody who has money." Well, you go to church, you'll find somebody who has a house and somebody to start hanging with. I love what you said. You don't want to go to church? Volunteer, because there's going to be somebody else volunteering who is in that association that thinks the things that you think and is going to work side by side with you. And in most cases, just like you said, give you that hand up. They're going to give you that advice you need because you're going to create a relationship. If you're sitting at home watching television, watching a whole bunch of other millionaires, multimillionaires play games, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm saying at what point are you not living your life through them? I love that the Nuggets are getting ready to play in the finals. Wow. But none of those guys are my relatives, right? None of those guys are feeding into me success. And I'm not tall enough to play basketball. And now I'm too old to play basketball. So that's not going to be how I'm going to create income. So I can't live my life through their journey.
I love it.
Some of these shows you watch, you go, are you kidding me? And these people are making it and they're doing stuff. I'm not them, but I do have a community right here in Denver, a community of people, whether it's at NARAB or whether it's at church or whether it's volunteering. I have this community of people who want me to succeed. And it starts with coming. You tell me what, if you come to this housing summit on June 19th from 5:30 to 7:30, I'm going to put you in touch with people that not only have your best interest in mind, but have done it before.
I love it.
People that you're hanging around. That's what this is about. This is how we change from 29% to 45 to 50 to 70% Black homeownership.
Yes.
It's not going to be done through a program at the bank. A program at the bank is going to help us. But we can't announce a program at the bank and say, everybody here, go get it, unless we're just giving everybody houses. And I don't think that's going to happen. So we're going to have to go through this, because not only do we want you to, and you can kind of talk about this, not only do we want you to get the house, we want you to stay in the house. And so there's going to be things you don't know about home ownership. And maybe you could talk about a little bit about what does it take once we got you through this process. What happens next? What do I do? How do I get in those associations? Or what do I need to do? What do you think?
Wow, Brian, I love this. You about ready to make me shout over here.
I love it. I'm with you.
But this is exciting because these are real conversations. And I do want to say this. One of the things that I think is the myth, a lot of people say you're renting a house or apartment from someone because they come in and if they will come in and fix something that's broken. I hear a lot of people say, well, if I buy a house as a single mom with children and the furnace go out or the air conditioning go out, or the garbage disposal is not working. Understand this fear mentality that we have, you got to move that aside. I would challenge the individuals that work with the individuals that we're talking about. Ask the realtor, if we can't negotiate in the contract, buy a home warranty for 12 months. Start off there. The home warranty will cover air conditioning, heating, garbage disposal, some electrical. If just buy a plan, it's usually only $300 to $500, and you cover for 12 months. And then if something breaks down, you call them. It's only $75 or $100 for the service call, but they have to fix it or replace it. So don't ever get. And then there's always handymans in your neighborhood that will help you. I promise you. You got to move away from the mind frame that you don't deserve it. You do deserve it. That's why you listening to this podcast right now. Fight for what you want. Say enough is enough. No longer that we got to sleep and have this lukewarm and stand on the sideline. That's a lie from the pit of hell. You determined to build wealth for your family, pull your children up, put them in better schools, have financial resources to give them what they need to be the best they can in school, and you be at peace in your home because you got everything taken care of, and build that wealth that you could pass it down to 3 generations and show your kids how to take them into credit unions and banks and open those youth accounts that's only takes $10 or $20 and make them put part of their allowance in there every 2 weeks or once a month. You got to prepare for tomorrow.
Amen. Amen. And oh man, I love it. I'm just thinking about all, you're talking about, being worried about getting something fixed. And if you're in the right frame of mind and you have the associations that you've now started building, we are going to find somebody to fix that water heater.
Yes.
That's what I'm telling you. Whether we get a grant, whether somebody just reaches out, because you haven't done it, but if you're following the tools and the things that we're showing you how to do. One of the things that I want to give, if you go through this program and we give you a house, I want to make sure you get a television because you want a consumer thing. But I also want to make sure you get a living trust. So we're gonna give out living trust to folks that go through this program with us. And now I'm thinking of home warranties. We're gonna find some money to make sure, and it's not all about, because you're gonna be part of this, because one of the things that's gonna happen is somebody's gonna get that to you, and then you're gonna pay that forward to somebody else. We are gonna build a community of folks. And I think that's what a lot of what's been lacking in our belief system is a community of folks that are doing everything we can to help each other. And it's starting through building generational wealth and building personal wealth through home ownership. That's where the community comes. All the studies I've seen have shown that if you have a child and he's stable through elementary school, junior high, and high school, his chances of being successful have gone up almost 200 or 300%. Wow. That's what the statistics say, that you can show. Not the person who moves from 5 different elementary schools and 4 different junior highs and 3 different high schools because they're moving from apartment to apartment and doing this. So how do we start the stability in our communities? It's going to be through home ownership. And so, oh man, you got me so excited. I'm ready to just run out and go do stuff for folks right now. But Milford, I thank you for being on. I know we're running out of a little bit of time. Please tell everybody exactly how to get a hold of you one more time, and then give us some parting thoughts that we can walk away with, that we can latch onto, that we can bring to the Black Wealth Housing Summit with us, that are going to help us perpetuate ourselves, taking action, because potential is potential, but with no action taken, it just sits there on the shelf. So how do we get people to take action on the potential that they have, so it's not just sitting on the shelf? So tell us who you are, how to get a hold of you. And
once again, my name is Milford Adams. You can call me personally at 303-927-8898. Once again, it's 303-927-8898. Also, you can reach me through my email, milford@adamsfamilyhouses.com. Once again, milford@adamsfamilyhouses.com. I will leave you in departing parts. I would leave you with this, an encouragement. I want you to realize what you do does matter today. And I want you to remember 3 P's that I give you today. You got to have a plan, you got to have patience, and you got to persevere. Do not take no for an answer. Do not run with people that the naysayer. Get with dream builders. Build relationships with people that walk in integrity and have character and willing and that you could trust. Find people like Brian that you can trust that work with you. So I just remember those 3 P's: plan, be patient, and persevering. Do not take no for an answer when it comes to home ownership. And Brian, we'll see you at your event. That is awesome. You're amazing. Thank you for doing what you do.
Well, thank you. And we are going to do this again. We are not done by no means. Even if it's every couple months, we're going to get together. We're going to chop it up, because this is such important work. This is the work that I believe God has us doing, because it's the work that's going to change generations, not just one. We're going to do one on just generational wealth. I appreciate you. Thank you for being on today and come to the event. We got patience, we got planning, we got perseverance. I got those P's in my mind now. I'm even going to talk about it on my social media today. So thank you so much for being here. And we will talk with all of you guys soon, first at the Housing Summit. But we're going to send these podcasts out to you every day starting in June, so that you have them. So get people there, not just yourself. Thank you for being on today. We will talk with you guys soon.
Bye-bye.